It's Gweilo 60 with another video. I've got a story for you today. This story is about how I met my wife and an overall of how she came to Canada, how long it took, what we did to get her to Canada. Back in, I'd say January of 2003, approximately, give or take a month, I was at work playing on the internet. Yes, playing on the internet work. I'm sure they were paying me way too much to be at that job. Anyway, I came across this web page and it had, I don't know, maybe 20 Chinese girls on it. It was just a small, obscure web page that if you weren't just playing, you'd probably never find. I tried to find it afterwards on a search a second time, and I wasn't able to. Good thing I got the email address from this pretty little Chinese girl. Out of the 20 or so on there, there was one that sort of made me very interested. So anyway, so I emailed this girl, and about 2 days later, I got a reply from China. Yes, I did. And it was a short, but it was in English. I didn't expect it to be English, but that's another story. But we'll get to that. Anyway, so this goes back and forth now for, well, till the beginning of August. And that's when I decided, okay, well, I'm going to go visit China. And that's in 2003, August 1st. I landed in Nanning, China, all by myself with a big smile on my face, gonna go meet this pretty little Chinese girl. Yes, and I did. I ended up in Nanning August 1st. At about noon, I landed in Nanning. It was, as I say, August 1st, Nanning, China, 42 degrees Celsius and 100% humidity. Oh my God, it was hot. Anyway, and I'm from Prince Albert, Saskatchewan, Canada, northern Canada. So 42, we've never seen 42. And 42 with humidity, it's dry in Saskatchewan. Anyway, so I meet her, and that was good at the airport. And they helped, her and her friends helped me book into a hotel room and showed me around Nanning for 3-4 days. And then they said, well, what are you going to do now? So we ended up in Beijing on the 5th day in China, Beijing, at the Canadian Embassy. Me and my new girlfriend looking for a visa. And visas for Chinese to come to Canada are pretty difficult. It's like a 1 in a million chance that they'd say yes. I know this because my brother was an immigration officer at that time. And I asked him, what are your chances? And he said 1 in a million. And I believe him because he no reason to lie to me. So we go in and we have an interview. Well, she has an interview in one room and I have an interview in the other room. And you got to understand, before this, she didn't speak English and I didn't speak Chinese. So she knew 3 words in English and I knew 1 word in Chinese. So there's no collaboration going on here at all. And after this interview, the officer brought us into the same room and said, well, we need a letter from her employer, a letter from her parents, and she was 32 at this time. We need bank statements, we need, and I think the letter from the employer was to basically give her the time off from work. I don't get that either. Anyway, so we got all this together, and then we go back in and we meet another immigration officer, an Italian lady, younger. She spoke Mandarin and English, I suppose, that's probably why she was working for the Canadian Embassy in Beijing, because she had the language and probably the educational background. She seemed like a pretty smart person. Anyway, we talked for about 5 minutes, and we gave her the information that was requested, and she said, yeah, okay, come back this afternoon. This is about 11 o'clock in the morning. She says, come back after 3 and pick up her visa. Okay, so I thanked her, and we left, and we go outside, and I'm trying to explain to Wei Fang that, yes, you got a visa, and she couldn't believe that she got a visa. She thought I was lying to her. Well, I am a famous liar, but I wasn't lying about that. So that was good, and we got a visa for her, and it was 3 weeks, a 3-week visa. But a visa in Canada is that you have to enter the country within that 3-week time period. Once you get there, the officer will stamp you for 6 months, and then you can stay in Canada for 6 months before you have to leave again. So we get back to Nanning, and now I have to go meet the parents, because by this time I haven't met her mom and dad, her brother, anybody in the family, because she didn't want me to meet her family until she knew that we were really boyfriend and girlfriend, or she got a visa, or we were going to decide to get married, or I'm not sure, and after 14 years, I'm not really sure why she did. I guess she was making sure that it was a pretty sure thing before I get to meet mom and dad. So after that, we get back. We were there for another couple days in Beijing, and then we traveled back to Nanning, which is about 3.5-hour flight. And now I get to go meet mom and dad, and because she's going to Canada with the idea that we're going to get married, there has to be a wedding reception. So we had a big wedding reception in the hotel, the Zhongjiang Hotel in Nanning, right by the river, and it was nice. And during this time, I met a Scottish guy that was a photojournalist out of Dubai that was in Nanning at that time, and he took all of our reception photographs. He's a really nice guy. A little strange, mind you, but he's still a really nice guy. And after we got back to Canada, and that's another story, he sent me a CD with all of the pictures on it, which was awful nice of him. Anyway, so we have this reception, and I pay with the money that I brought, because I brought a bunch of money with me, and a credit card that I boosted up with $22,000 on my credit card. At least I thought I did. So I paid for the reception, and we were going in on August 14th. We're heading out. We're going to Canada. Okay, that would be a perfect scenario. So I go to buy my new fiance, I guess by this time, because we've already had the wedding reception. My new fiance, an airplane ticket. The card was denied. No. So I checked it out. Well, they only put $1,000 on it. Wow. That's not enough for an airfare ticket from Nanning to Vancouver. If I'm in Canada, I can ATM stuff and whatever. And I got an ATM card, but you're only allowed to take out a certain number of RMB per day, and we just didn't have enough time for that. So what I did is I called my brother. I said, brother, I love you very much. Can you please do me a favor? Can you put a couple $1,000s on payment on my MasterCard? And he said, yeah. So he went and did that. And then I went down and bought the ticket, used my MasterCard, bang, it was done. Got her to Canada. So 14 days later, we're sitting in Vancouver Airport at Tim Hortons, eating donuts and drinking Tim Hortons coffee, double doubles, and wondering, how did this all happen? In 14 days, from meeting somebody in China, to traveling to Beijing, to getting a visa, to both parties being in Canada. That's not the end of it. So then we go back to Prince Albert, and she meets all my friends. We used to go to the bar a fair bit, and so I show up the next night after people get off work, and I walk in with Wei Fong in tow, and my friends are pretty boisterous characters. They're loud and they drink lots of beer, and typical Canadians. That place went silent. You couldn't hear a sound. It was like exactly nothing. So anyway, after a little while, they shone up to Wei Fong because she's a nice girl, and that part was over. Then she got to meet my children, and that's another story that we'll get to in time. But we got there on August 14th, and then August 29th we were married in just a small ceremony with friends and some close family members, and bang, we were married. So from leaving China, from going to China, to meeting a girl, to getting a visa, to coming back to Canada, to getting married, 29 days. Oh yes, so this is a whirlwind romance, to say the least. Not even a whole month. Yeah. So, but you see, the officer that was making the decision for her to come to Canada was obviously knew what was going on and saw something, because 14 years later we're still married and we're having fun. So that's how quickly it happened. I don't know, I think the camera overheated there. Anyway, that's how quickly it happens. In some circumstances, I've heard horror stories from other people that have taken years to get their fiance, their wife, from China to their home country. I've talked to lots of Australians, Brits, Americans, and Canadians that have had problems. Anyway, that's basically my story about meeting my wife and her coming to Canada. And well, I'll have a lot more stories for you. My last video got 4 hits, 4 views. I think I did 2 of them. So I'm hoping that more people watch my videos. I'm going to have a lot of stuff about southern China, Guangxi province mainly, places like Beihai, Nanning, Gweilo, Bobai, Yulin. I've got a sister-in-law from Yulin, so we'll have some inside information dealing with the dog meat festival, and we'll actually maybe here this, not this year but next year, we'll go down to the dog meat festival, and I'll show you the Yulin side of it from the people's perspective, and they won't shut me down because I'm family. So until the next video, if you're interested in what I'm saying, comment, like, subscribe even. Then you won't lose me in millions of other YouTube videos out there. Anyway, this is Gweilo 60 signing off. Until next time.